guys, so we are working with section 10.5, your last lesson for 6th grade of chapter 6. For your 6th grade year. So this is section 10.5, box and whisker plots. All right, so I know it looks like a lot, but you learned everything you need to know about a box and whisker plot, okay? So here's my pen, here it is. All right, let me add my notes. Okay. So it says a box and whisker plot represents a data set along a number line by using the least value, which we know how to find the least value, the greatest value, and the quartiles, which is quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. A box and whisker plot shows the variability of a data set. So here, I'm going to show you, here is your least value. So as long as your data is in order, so data must be in order. That's what I want to write. Data must be in order. There we go. Okay, so you have your least value, you have your greatest value, and then these three are your quartiles. So here's quartile 2, which it says the median. Here's your first quartile, and here's your third quartile. So once you find all your information, you're just going to plot that information on a number line, and that's it. So we're actually going to try one together, and they give you, if you printed this out, you have your number line already. Well, if you notice, the order is not, the data is not in order. So we need to put it in order first. So I'm going to say 14, and then 15, 20, 26, 27, 30, I think there's another 30, yep, 30, 33, 35, 36, and 38. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, perfect. So if we recall, when we were doing our first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, it was in, we were finding really our middle half. Everything was in fourths. So we're going to find all our information first. So I usually like to write it here. So least, greatest, quartile 2 is what I find next, then quartile 1, and then quartile 3. Okay, so I'm going to change the color. All right, so let's find our quartile 2 first. When you're going here, let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not crossing out because I don't want to confuse you with all the numbers and all the crossing out because we're going to find quartile 2 and 3. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's right here. All right, so our median, our quartile 2, is right here. It's actually these, so it's 30, but we're using those two 30s to help us, okay? Now, to find quartile 1, because this 30 right here is not the true median, you're using that 30. So it should be right smack in the middle. And if you remember, you do 20 plus 26 and divide by 2, and you're going to get 24. Okay, so that's quartile 1. And then you're going to do the same here. You're going to use that 30, and you should be around 33 and 35, which if you do 33 plus 35 and divide by 2, you're going to get 34, and that's your quartile 3. Okay, so I need you to see something before we start plotting everything. If you remember, here's quartile 1. Actually, let's do it underneath. Let's see. eraser, please. Okay, so from here to here, then to here, and to here, and then to here. All right, so if you look at that, they look like they're really actually pretty perfect. That this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, and that equals a whole, okay? You're gonna see that everything is in quarters. So like this right here, from here to here is your middle half. Oh, HALF. That's your middle half, okay? But they may ask what your upper half is. So if I ask what your upper half is, you would actually say here. This is your upper half. If I asked what your lower half is, you would say here. This is your lower half, okay? So just so that you're understanding that. Now, when you're plotting this on the number line, it's not gonna look so perfect, but that's because you're actually putting your data on a true value of a number line. This is just your data up on top, right? So let's do our least. Our least is 14. Our greatest is 38. Quartile 2 is 30. Quartile 1 is 24. And quartile 3 is 34. And all I'm going to do is go on my number line below, and I'm just going to put a dot right above each of those information. So 14, 38, 30, 24, and 34. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3 dots in the middle, and I'm going to draw a line through them, just through the 3, and then I'm going to connect. Okay. And then I'm going to take this dot here and draw a line to that value and that value. So remember, this is your least, this is your greatest, this is your quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. Okay. So when you're doing this, remember what it's called. It's called a box and whisker plot. So what they're trying to say is, here's your box right here. That's your box. And then like a cat, those are your whiskers. All right. So that's what they're asking for, your box and whisker plot. All right. So you just made your first box and whisker plot. And then when I was asking you before for your middle half, I know it doesn't look like it, but because it's on a number line, but this is your middle half right here. That's your middle half. It's from your quartile 1 to your quartile 3. It's your interquartile range is your middle half. It's your IQR. Okay? All right, so let's now do our example 2. All right, so we kind of just did this. This is your key idea. So this is about 1/4 of the data right here. This is about half of your data, and this is about another 1/4, and all together that equals 1 whole. All right, so we are going to be answering a couple of questions looking at our box and whisker plot. So it says the box and whisker plot shows the body mass index, the BMI, of a 6th grade class. What fraction of the students have a BMI of at least 22? So when it's saying at least 22, that means it has to be 22 or more. So this, remember what we said, each section is 1/4. So from here to here, even though it's really long, it's still only 1/4. So we're going to say 1/4 of the students. Okay. Are the data more spread out below the first quartile or above the 3rd quartile? So we need to remember that this is quartile 1 and this is quartile 3. So is the data more spread out below the first quartile or above the third quartile? And if you're looking, the one that's the longest is quartile 3 to the greatest value. So we're going to say above the third quartile. Okay. Now there's actually a problem C. So we're going to do problem C. It says find and interpret the IQR. Find and interpret the IQR. All right, so in order to do that, you need to know where quartile 3 is and quartile 1. So quartile 3 is 22 and quartile 1 is 19, which gives me 3. Everybody good there? Okay. So now we have one last section. We have our key idea. We are now working with shapes of distribution, which we have worked with. We've worked with skewed left. We've worked with symmetric. We've worked with skewed right. We just never did it with box and whiskers. So skewed left, the left whisker is longer than the right whisker. So this is longer, okay, for it to be skewed left. Most of the data is on the right, okay? Most of the data is on the right. For it to be skewed right, the right whisker needs to be longer, all right, than the left whisker, and most of the data is on the left. And obviously the symmetric, the whiskers are about the same, okay? And the median is in the middle of the box. See how it's in the middle? Okay. All right, so let's try it. Example 3. The double box and whisker plot represents the lifespans of crocodiles and alligators at a zoo. Identify the shape of the distribution of the lifespans of alligators. So basically, this is just one number line with just 2 box plots on top. But they only want us to look at alligators. So when you're looking at the alligators, we're just looking at this one. We need to figure out if one of the, what they call it, stems, what do they call it? The left whisker. Okay, so we need to look at the left whisker and the right whisker. And we need to make sure, are they the same? Is one longer than the other? And go in that route. So they look pretty the same. So I'm going to say it's symmetric. Okay, and then that's your answer. All right, and that's it. You are officially finished with all your lessons for grade 6. Great job, everybody.
I was going through some homework questions with quite a few students today, and we saw that there was a couple of mistakes that everyone was making, so I thought of making a quick video to show you.